What is center of mass? Well, stick around and find out. All right, let's talk about center of mass. What is center of mass? Well, center of mass is basically when your body is evenly balanced.
Wait a minute.
When your body is evenly distributing, holy fuck, balance. It's evenly balanced. When we walk, our bodies are evenly balanced. Our center of mass, in terms of like where on our bodies, basically like this area here. Like below your belly button, between here and here, our bodies naturally align itself. So like those who might have like some, messed up hips like me, and one's like kind of like this way, the one's this way, the body, you don't really realize, you're not feeling like you're walking like this. You're actually like, you feel normal until you go to the chiropractor, like, hey, by the way, your hips are like this. So your body naturally regulates balance, and that's your center of mass, which is like basically here. So how does center of mass affect our everyday training? Well, I'm always saying leverage. Create leverage. You want to create leverage. And leverage is, at the core of leverage is your center of mass. So what do I mean by that? Well, if we look at just balance, for me to be able to hold stuff up like this, or I don't know, go down like this, and I don't mind my toe, I know. But like just me doing this alone, my body's trying to balance my head over top my hips. When I used to play football, when we were coached on proper cutting techniques, right? When you're running and then you drive down and break into your knee, into your glutes, your hip to be able to change direction, we always talked about this thing called your proper shin angle. And your proper shin angle was basically like a toe-knee chin. So if I was to run, I'd be here, I'd be in this great positioning where I have balance, and my balance was coming between my toe-knee and my chin, but what's actually creating the balance is where this part of my body is. So when this is evenly distributed through range of motion or functionality, I can change direction better. So when we're lifting, how does it affect us? Well, how it affects us in every single lift that we do? Very simple. Goblet squats. When I put somebody through doing a squat movement and they're not so good at doing squats, they're a beginner, or even somebody who just picked up bad habits, I give them a dumbbell to practice a goblet squat. What is a goblet squat going to do? It's going to put our body in a really, really good posture and neutral spine and all the good stuff you're doing goblet squat does. Anyway, and I'll get them to hold a dumbbell. Now for me, our center of mass is basically like, if I want to do a goblet squat and I just kind of do this, well, I'm gonna goblet squat. The thing is, I'm pretty tight right now. My glutes are tight, hips are kind of tight, and I got this 20-pound dumbbell right here that's supposed to help balance me out. Now, when we talk about evenly distributed weight, it means when your body's also holding something else. This thing now becomes part of my body. Wherever this thing is on my body, I have to use my center of mass to keep me balanced. So if I was gonna sit here and do a goblet squat and I need to get down further, if I push the weight up further, I can actually distribute more weight and balance and sit up right. If I do this, I start going backwards, look at that, I can save myself kind of. But the point is that when we use weights, whatever exercise that we do, we want to be very aware of our center of mass. Now, a lot of times when we're doing bent over rows, hinging movements, anything where we have to stabilize with ourselves, you're not in some type of machine and a bench, you have to understand your center of mass so you can get under the weight more, so you can have more control, more leverage. And your leverage starts from the ground. For me, if I'm doing a goblet squat or any squat, I'm kind of like gripped into the ground, right? Everything is touching the floor. I'm trying to like grip my feet like this. I'm like, I'm just, get over your ground. I'm doing that shit, basically. And then from here all the way up, I'm engaged all the way through. Now for me to get into a squat and I have no lifts under my shoes, my dorsal flexion isn't that great. It's better than before. But again, for me to get down into my center of mass, I can kind of, but things get a little more, I gotta open up a little more to get down, and I gotta put my hands up this way to create leverage or balance. When I'm here, understanding where to hold the dumbbell is going to help me get into my place more natural. Now I can actually sit in. I can do everything from here. Now I know my shoulders are gonna be doing a little work, but there's still the press, my chest is still up, and from here, I can stay active in my squat, engaged. Now, if this was a heavier weight, I couldn't hold it out here because guess what? My center of mass, evenly distributed, is right here, right now. If I go further out, then I'll start tilting that way. If I bring it closer in, I'll start going back. So find that happy medium and be able to understand that where I'm at now is balanced. It's the same for doing like bent over rows. Barbell, T-bar, dumbbell. The success of your lift is gonna come from you being able to consciously be aware of being evenly distributed by your butt, basically. So if I'm here and there's no weight on this, right? And I get into my position where I'm back, my weight evenly distributed is actually here. So when we look at like doing like, deadlifts, whether it's Romanian deadlift, whether it's a sumo deadlift, whether it's a conventional, it's going to be, the success can be determined on that bar pathway and how you engage yourself to be able to make sure the bar pathway stays consistent. And for the most part, if I evenly distribute my glutes or my weight pushing back, you can see here, I'm evenly distributed. My head weighs X amount of weight and my butt or this area weighs X amount of weight. I can sit here all day because I've evenly distributed the weight between my center of mass. So when we're going back and hinging back, I have balance. If I reach my head this way, you see how I start to fall that way. If I push my butt this way, I'm gonna do the same thing. I'll probably be a little more balanced, but from here, it's not that strong of an angle. I've now shifted the bar pathway. So when we're doing movements like this, understanding that the glutes, or this region of your body, is going to be the success, or what's gonna give you success in your lift. Because when I wanna lift this weight from here, the most optimal way to lift this is where I'm balanced. Right here, I'm balanced. Right here, I'm not balanced. A little close, yeah, I'm balanced, and this is better than out here. But if I let my arms hang and just sat my butt back, here I'm balanced. That's why we don't wanna do this, because now we have to kind of roll like this, and that bar pathway is off, and now it's less efficient. So we wanna be here. And I can just stretch from my butt being back, and that's keeping me engaged and balanced this entire time. So even if I grab one hand like this, I'm gonna have to distribute the weight, so at least when I'm holding one arm, that everything is still evenly balanced. This is evenly balanced. This is obviously evenly balanced. Regardless, this is balance. Hey guys, before we continue with this video, I gotta make sure you guys are hydrated. You hydrated yet? Probably not. Check it out, I got errands for you. Guys, use my code Johnny10 for 10% off Amino Fast. Like what's Amino Fast? Guys, Amino Fast is gonna increase your overall performance, reduce muscle soreness, improve your hydration, and it's gonna prevent muscle cramps. And guess what? All our flavors taste amazing. So guys, again, use my code Johnny10 for 10% off your next order of Amino Fast right now. Okay, back to the show. And it'd be the same if you're doing like bench. And you're like, well, wait a minute, how do you do that? Well, the other part of the entire piece of the puzzle, when you're looking at like lifting, like pressing, if you look at when I'm pressing just this, there's not much weight here. It's pretty easy for me to sit here. I lift my feet up and things are basically not that balanced. My center of mass is sitting on the ground here, but to make it more efficient, I'm planted here. Now everything is evenly distributed. So now I have good balance. Now I've taken it off and my body's working harder. One leg, my body's working harder. Both feet on the ground, engaged, everything's working and balanced. So now there's no wasted energy when I'm pressing. But that's how you keep balance. If I do this, it gets a little wonky, right? If I lift my feet up, it's a little wonky, you can see it. I have to do that much more work. So my center of mass is now evenly distributed when I'm here. Even machines, and a lot of people see I've done a lot of like demo on preacher curl or anything. When I create leverage, and I can kind of like, here, I'm gonna show you. This is a lot. This is useless, actually. I'm just gonna go here just to not be an idiot. So that right there has X amount of weight on. I'll get myself here, I'm gonna curl up. Right now, my weight is actually like uneven like this. I have to really push myself in this way to really keep the weight down. Now I got 100 and some pounds on here. Now right here, I'm really working. Like you see, I'm really working to keep this weight in here. But that's why most people kind of do this. Now my weight, my center of mass is behind the amount of weight that's there, and now I'm evenly distributing the weight. I do this, you can see the weight's pulling me forward. So creating leverage, sometimes when you get a little more advanced, you can use techniques like this to get more weight, to keep more leverage, right? The load's still the same, it just gives you better overall body positioning to be able to get the rep up and control all the way down. And then using your leverage, especially when it comes to your eccentric, is the biggest part. Because you gotta think the lowering of the weight or the letting go of the weight is basically pushing your butt either away. So if I'm like going down for a Romanian deadlift, my butt's going back and then it's coming forward. If I'm doing a row, my butt's kind of doing this. The weight's heavier in front, we pull. It's doing this. If I'm, doing bench press or pull-ups, even pull-ups. Now I do this sometimes, it's a mistake I do, but most of the time people are like this. And I've done it before because, it's easier, it makes a little more sense, but my center of mass, if I want to pull this thing, it's not necessarily that I'm pulling my head up, it's a chin up. What makes chin ups or pull-ups hard for anybody is the heavier they are, the heavier this part of the body is, right? So yeah, I can get my head up. That's just my point of where my body's going in direction. But I'm actually pulling from my fingers to my lats, I'm pulling my butt up. Best thing to do is to have your weight in front of you. This makes more sense because the pull is going up. I'm trying to pull this thing up straight. That's why when you see people pull and they're all over the place, and their body's going everywhere and it needs to just go up and down. So what do? You engage your core, you push your feet in front of you and you pull. And everything's pulling more efficient. Other than this, right? I'm under here, right? My weight is literally like this. It's staying underneath where it should be pulling. Not back here because it makes that much harder to pull, and not too far in front because we're too much weight in the front. All right, so that is my little lesson on finding your center of mass or understanding your center of mass. I hope it was of some service to you. Do your best to try to find that yourself. Remember, it's just basically pay attention to where this big hunk of your body is, right? If you're doing any kind of hinging movement, your balance is going to come from where you put this at. So understanding how to hinge properly, got a bunch of videos like that as well. And just understanding being grounded from the floor to core. That's why I'm always saying those things so you guys understand that that's where we're creating the first line of defense or offense for lifting. Creating leverage, finding your center of mass, and being able to use that for your advantage. And when we're using these tools, it's more so to make the rep more efficient, obviously, but also to be able to get us into place where we can really get a lot of muscle crew in those stretch parts of the lift. Anyway, guys, for more videos like this, let me know in the comment section below. And if you want to break this down even more, let me know in the comment section below. And also, guys, join my Discord. Link is in the description below. Until next time, you know how it is. Iron sharpens iron, progressive overload your life. In the meantime, keep gym chasing. Peace.